Hey guys, how's it going? Owners here and welcome to a new video. In this video I'll feature my personal highlights of the first round of the 2016 Formula SimRacing World Championship. Obviously, after being the Pro Champion of 2015, I've decided to step into the World Championship, the highest class available in Formula SimRacing. I'm not going to do it, however, with Go Speed Racing, as I've always been driving for them, but this time I'm going to do it with Origin Front Row Racing, stepping alongside Kuba Brzezinski in the OFR car. Enough of an introduction, I'm gonna step in the commentary booth and be commentating on the race today. Hope you have fun. Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome on board indeed. It is the first round of the 2016 Formula SimRacing World Championship, as I have already introduced. Qualifying one, then of course it's always an exciting moment to see the new cars out on track, and here is mine. You know, this is my car for this season. It's absolutely stunning, I have to say. The livery is very nice, but obviously when I am driving I don't pay attention to the livery, and the livery is not important. It's obviously about the results, and well, for this race the results, well, they had to be there. I was so motivated and you know, so excited also as well to deliver for this team, because over the past couple of months I was obviously switching teams. I went from Go Speed to Origin Front Row Racing, and it did take some time to get used, to be honest, because to get used to the team, I mean, because there are quite a few differences as well. What I have still got though is my engineer, you know, Justin, obviously from the channel Box Gaming on YouTube. Is still my engineer. That is something I specifically wanted to have, not only because last season went well with Justin in terms of him being an engineer, but it also, you know, I have a little of a connection with Justin. He knows what I want in a race, I know what I can expect from him in a race, and that is something, you know, which is nice in my opinion. After, you know, a couple of races, you know, kind of, you know, the details about each other, and that is pretty nice, I have to say. So Q1 then, as I said, the expectations were high, not only from me but also from the whole team, because well, to be honest, in testing I specifically had a really good really good period testing with this team. I got a really nice vibe of the car, and you know, you develop of course a setup towards this race. And this first race is quite a different one, because you put in so many hours of practice, because there's a huge build-up towards this first weekend. That's also why my expectations were so high. The build-up was huge to this weekend, and you know, I had a lot of time to prepare myself. Of course, being in the first qualifying lap though, I can imagine that you guys have got some questions. If you do have them, then feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can, of course, because you know, this season, of course, it's a new season and it's 2016. We have new cars, we have new sounds. The V8 cars are gone. Of course, you know, you would have a few questions at least. So yeah, feel free to ask them, and I'll keep an eye out on the comment section of this video then. So far so good though in this Q1 session. Q1 format is still the same as last year, so the top 10 is going to advance to Q2, and that's pretty much it. Looking for a low 26 around this time. My PB coming into this qualifying session was a 25.6, and honestly I would be not happy if I would not get a 25 in qualifying 2 at least. If I get a 25, I think I'm good for at least a top 3 spot, and honestly 25.2 was my target. Coming across the line though over here, I forgot to open up my DRS as I went across the line, so that was a bit unfortunate. In the end, doing a 26.1, which was enough for first place in Q1, but you know, Q1 is Q1, and the top 10 advances, it's about Q2, as we see here the point of view I have. So from my, you know, from my perspective, you notice that I can't see the side mirrors, at least that's what you would think, but I have a triple monitor setup, so the two mirrors, I see them on the separate monitor, on the right one and on the left one. So going into this session, you know, as I said before, I expected nothing else than a 25, but yeah, there's a little issue, to be honest, because I noticed quite a bit of lag here and there during the session, as yeah, there is a lot of stress on my CPU because of the, well, 20 plus cars which there are on the grid. Anyway, the Q2 lap, of course, it's an important one. This was actually my very first timed lap see what we can do then straight away. So obviously DRS is wide open. 2 DRS zones here for this weekend, and we go across the line now to start the lap. 325 kilometers an hour as we hit our braking marker pretty well there. No issues whatsoever in the first corner. Very important to get a good exit for the rundown. Turn 3, obviously the second DRS zone being right here as well. Find the brake marker, which is 100 meter board. Slow it all the way down to second gear. Nicely turning it into there. Exit again once again, I mean, very important indeed. Very hard over the curb there. We are allowed to extend that corner, so you cannot cut it or anything else. Once again, finding your braking marker just after the 100 meter board. Down to third gear, up to 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th of course. And in this corner here, it's really, you know, it's a bit of a Mickey Mouse corner, it almost is, because it seems so so innocent, but that corner is so important for lap time for some reason. It's so important to have a good exit there, and sometimes when you take the curb it makes the front end rotate a little bit more, but you just have to hit the curb with the exact right angle as well. So it's a tricky one, to be honest. Once the gears down, once again down the gears, there we go. And I actually noticed a little mistake there, because I went down to second gear instead of third gear. I have a new wheel, and yeah, somewhat need to get used to that as well. So I unfortunately made a double downshift, which was all down to me, you know, just double pressing the downshift pedal. Nonetheless though, across the line, this time opening up the DRS for the final section to the line. 126.1 again, so that is relatively consistent, but you know, it's not at 25, and I really wanted to get a 25. Here we are on my last attempt, in fact. On the other laps I kept making mistakes, and I was up the whole time. Which we make a bit of a mistake, I almost losing it. I made a few mistakes here and there. I remember at the end of this first sector here being up by a few hundredths of a second, but it's mainly the final sector where I still could have improved. So in this middle sector, let's see how I hit that curb. You want to go over it a little bit more than that, to be honest. Exit is more important though on the last corner we just went through. So at this stage I noticed that it was going relatively well, going across the second sector mark, and I was up on my previous time. Making a little bit of a mess of this quick left-right chicane, to be honest. Could have gone a little bit quicker through there. And at this stage I noticed that I was the only car driving on track. So I knew I had pole position, as I then make a right mess of that corner.
You've got pole. You got pole. Kuba's out. Woo! Well, yeah, you probably could have made it a bigger gap than that with the other lap, but still, pole is pole.
Ah, fuck, I wanted a 25.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say that.
So only getting a 126.1 in the end, and honestly I was very disappointed with that. I really had hoped for a 25 in this session. Not because it's a fantastic lap time and whatnot, but because I really felt like I could have done it. Realistically, I think I could have set at least a 0.9. But the 0.8 was really my target.
So again, you can use quite a bit of boost 2 to try and build a gap if you want. I think that's preferred.
So here Justin saying here you can use a little bit of boost 2. Yes, that's interesting indeed. That is something new, in fact, being added to this mod. Of course it's the 2016 mod based on the 2015 spec car, so why not make them a little bit more technical. They are in fact more technical, and also we have got the addition to run with different boosts. It's a little bit comparable to the F1 games by F1 titles by Codemasters, their boosts, where you have rich mixture and lean mixture. We only have 2 boosts, but they do make a big impact, to be honest. Boost 1 is the one which delivers less horsepower, less engine wear, and also a lower fuel consumption. Boost 2, obviously it requires or uses much more fuel. It delivers more horsepower though. On this track, for example, as we have team radio.
Final car is just pulling into turn 9 right now.
Okay, I'll block up a bunch of field up after this next corner. For example, around this track, boost 2 would use about 2.9 to 3 liters per lap. If you would use it, a lot, quite often during the lap. Whereas if you wouldn't use any boost, it was 2.2 or 2.3. So that's a 0.7 difference, which is quite a lot. And the fuel size, the tank has been resized as well this year, going down to 142 liters. But obviously this engine uses less fuel than the V8 engine. Anyway, the formation lap has been completed. The final sector went really slowly there because I really wanted to bunch up the fields. Therefore, I am less stationary on the grid, and the tires won't cool down as much as as if it would take really long for the final car to line up. First race of the season, Kuba in 4th, by the way. Our teammate, of course, haven't mentioned him yet, but I'll do so later in this race for sure. Kuba in 4th, we are in 1st though, pole position, and we have 5 lights for the first race of the 2016 World Championship. Lights are out right now, and there we go, off the line pretty nicely. What alongside already is Jim Paris, who had a brilliant start on the inside already, and I presume he's gonna outbrake ourselves, which he has done indeed. Brake much later, but I went for the switchback, which means we are right on the gearbox of him already over here. Can we make a move down into turn 3? It's crucial for us to be in front of him after the first lap. Then we can manage the race. So around the outside of turn 3, we are still side by side ending into turn 4. In fact, lots of space, of course, have to be given. Still side by side entering turn 5. I'm on the outside, which is really hard to make the move stick, but I do make it stick. So back into the lead it is, as Jim Paris is under attack himself from, I think, Daniel Kiskoba staying in 4th position meanwhile, and we are in 1st, and that is very important, as I said before. Now we can manage this race.
Good job. Use that boost too.
So straight away, Justin saying use that boost too. Why is it so crucial to stay ahead? Well, now I can try to create a gap. Of course, Justin said it. Use boost too. That is all to make a gap to Jim Paris's, so I can get him outside of the DRS. And thanks to that, try to manage the race a little bit. We are looking for a free stopper over here, doing option, prime, option. That is at least our plan A. We can always go a different strategy, of course, but we will keep to that free stop most likely. Maybe we can run the option stint in the 3rd stint, for example, if it's really needed. So far so good though. After lap 1, having the lead and creating a slight gap already to Jim Paris. You can see it visually. The gap is starting to form. First lap complete though, as I said. Quite a hefty battle in the first couple of corners, of course, with Paris's. I was really desperate to stay in 1st. I said it before. I find that really important, and I had a pretty terrible getaway off the line. Not in general, but I did have it compared to Paris's with brilliant start, has to be said. Lap 2, then turn 3, so far so good. I said it before. Now is the stage where I am pushing quite a bit, of course. We are, our pit window is about lap 10, 11, something around there. But of course, I said it before, trying to push quite hard, trying to create a gap to Paris, get him outside of the DRS zone. And thanks to that, of course, also using quite a bit of boost too. But at this stage, we're looking strong, creating a gap, as I said before, to Paris's.
Let's try to build another second gap if you can.
So Justin saying there, let's try to build another second gap. Of course, the bigger the gap is, the better it will be for us trying to manage this race. Actually, this car has 8 gears as well, rather than 7, which we had last year. Anyway, a replay of the start. Then have a look at Paris's start. It was pretty amazing. Kuba himself had a reasonable getaway. Kiss hadn't really such a great getaway. Kuba couldn't get Kiss there, although he was on the inside. Kuba perhaps taking it a bit careful, which may be wise. And over here I picked the toe up on Paris's. I knew he was alongside, I knew he had such a great start, and he had the inside line for turn 1, so I couldn't turn into the corner. That's something you cannot do, so I felt like maybe I could go for a switchback, which is risky because when you are close behind someone at the exit of that corner, there is so much dirty air. We have seen a lot of drivers spinning out behind another driver on the exit of turn 2 because of the dirty air. It really makes the car slippery. This is Kuba's point of view. You see that Paris had a brilliant start. I positioned myself there to the left hand side to make the switchback execute it a bit better. Here is the onboard from Paris's. You can see clearly it was already ahead. Here I go, position myself to the left so I can cut nicely to the inside of the corner, then get right in his slipstream over here. Paris is having a little bit of a moment there as well. Definitely helping me catching up in his slipstream, pulling alongside. Hard to get around the outside here of turn 3, to be honest, but I have to say it's very nice to see that this much respect is being given by Paris. He left plenty of space, so did I, and then you get nice racing. This move by the here over here, tricky sometimes because you are on the dirty line, and it pushes you a little bit wide, especially with the higher fuel load, of course. Coming from qualifying into the race, it is a big difference in terms of fuel load and also in terms of fuel because of that.
I'm gonna use a little bit less boost. Keep me updated on that.
So I feel like I've created quite a big gap. You can see it over there about, wow, what is it? 1.7 seconds, something like that, I believe. So far so good. Still, it's looking rather sunny, you have to say. And of course, because of that, going to use a little bit less boost too, as we see a little bit of lag there going on with my car. Braking for turn 3, however, and something has gone horribly wrong indeed. Going off the track, they're going to hit the wall. Yeah, I do make a hit with the wall, and a rather strange incident over there. Obviously, have a look at that in the replay, dropping down the order massively. Of course, this is gonna be so bad for our race, of course. And oh man, did I feel embarrassed over here. There we see a Go Speed car, ironically of course driving for them last year, who's overtaken me. And all of a sudden you are back into, what was it, P16, something like that I believe. But that's bizarre. And remember when I talked about the lag which I had in quali before? Exactly that has struck me over here. There was a CPU issue for me, and yeah, I couldn't do anything. You can see the car lagging, force feedback dropped as well.
CPU issues, getting a lot of lag.
There I say it on the team radio as well. Basically, the screen for me froze for a period of like 8 seconds, something like that I believe. There was no force feedback for me at all anymore. I braked on time for turn 3, but the force feedback was gone. And it was so tough to judge where I was, because the screen was just completely stuck. And it froze, and you know, it's such a shame because it's out of your hands. It's a computer related issue.
Is it okay now?
It tends to lag spike.
It tends to lag spike. You know, I sometimes got it more often than another time, but it is a big shame because the race went really well for us. Here we see, I think it's Valeriano who is in front of who is it? Is it James Sadler? I think it is Sadler. Yeah, it is Sadler. So we are then behind Sadler, lap 4 of the race, where we were in first before, and looking rather sunny. We have to fight back through the field, and honestly, this can happen. It is sim racing, but my concentration was gone. As we make a move on James Sadler over here, trying to use a bit of boost 2 over there to get by. I didn't want to get held up much longer behind Sadler. I know that I'm quicker, with all respect to James of course, but yeah, I wanted to get by, but the concentration was gone, and I kept thinking, you know, why does it have to happen? Why did it happen? But you know, it's best to do a mind reset, so to say, and as we get to lap 6, it's better to do a mind reset and try to move yourself up back from the field. But it's a tough task, of course.
I'm still getting it. Others are getting it too.
We need to use less fuel. We need to use less fuel.
Yeah, that's what I noticed, by the way. During the race I saw one car where the issue as well, right here as well, it was right here where it happened for me too. I saw one car which was lagging out as well. You can see it because a car would fall out of real time, so to say. So you would be stopped on track while others basically go, but it would be stopped for like, now what is it, 0.3 of a second, 0.4, something like that. So it's a really weird issue, and maybe it's down to the track as well, being a little bit more, you know, harsh on the CPU. It's possible.
You can use boost 2 to overtake, but I would use it sparingly.
So Justin said before we had to use less boost 2. So I indeed did that, and he says it over here. I can use boost 2, but sparingly. Currently behind Valeriano, I do believe, having DRS on him as well. As we open up lap 8, nicely climbing on the back of him there, using a bit of boost 2 for sure. It is so obvious to use boost 2. See, the thing is, you can't look at it from the replay. You don't know when someone uses boost 2. As we go on the inside of Valeriano over here, who did not have DRS, we go for it, and Valeriano actually making a really weird move there, going to the right, maybe touching the barrier even. When you look at that in the replay, there was no contact made. It was rather close though. Here we go, going in the slow motion to see it a bit better. So of course, you know, squeezing him a little bit on the braking, but no contact was made, at least not on my screen. I think a little bit of lag was involved there, touching Valeriano, so I feel slightly sorry for him, but there wasn't a lot I could have done. Lap 9 of the race, moving up through the field a little bit. James Sadler is still behind us on the option tire though, expecting to pit soon. I did wear my tires down quite a bit because I had to move back through the field and pushing very hard, of course.
Cars in the pits, we have about 4 liters of spare fuel to use for the entire race. 4 liters. Try to use as little boost 2 as you can while getting into his DRS range, and then use the boost 2 to overtake.
I've got a lot of lag the whole time.
He's still complaining about lag over here. It's a little bit comparable to screen tearing as well. Of course, you won't see it over here because this is recorded with a replay. So yeah, you won't notice anything over here. But it felt like screen tearing, and sometimes I would get these, these lockups where the screen would be frozen. I didn't get as much of a lag spike period, so to say, as I had in the third lap. But I was so upset about it, and I found it such a big shame because I really wanted to perform badly, and I really wanted to at least finish on the podium. That would have been so nice, because I really feel like I'm at home in
I think we have to pit this lap.
Yep, copy. This is lap 10. Go ahead and pit.
Go ahead and pit is what Justin says. Lap 10, I felt like the tires were going off and I didn't really get far anymore, so let's try to pit then, go for the medium tires. We see a car there who is actually Nikodem Wisniewski in the ACR car, who has lost his front wing, so issues for him as well, looks like it. Going into the pit though, lap 10 of this race out of 58, still a long way to go. By the way, in case you're interested, no rain was predicted for this race, so we won't see any rain. Well, there was a slight chance of rain, about 20%.
I have some damage to the car, I'm not going to repair it. I think I'm missing... Oh, it's refueling!
Oh my god.
9 seconds stop instead of 3.
As you hear now, a bit of frustration. And our day has gone from bad to worse because we basically are experiencing a little issue. Whether it's a bug or glitch, I don't know. But yeah, it's gonna be a bit tough to explain. Basically, these cars have a big tank, 142 liters. They should, not be refuelable in the race. You cannot refuel your car in the race. Team radio.
I think a piece of my front wing came off. I am understeering all over the place.
In the pit lane, I noticed it during practice as well. When I would get into the pit, it sometimes just randomly would be refueling my car. And it would add about 2 liters of fuel. But instead of a 3-second pit stop, it would take 9 seconds, and that is a big difference because that's 6 seconds, and as you can see, it puts me right behind James Stedler, and exactly that is what happened in the race. I noticed it during the warm-up, which is the section before the race in FSR. I noticed it there as well when I made a practice pit stop, and it was refueling as well. So I quit the server, made sure that I rejoined the server with the right car, because basically you have different car specs. One is the stock car, which you have to use in the race, which cannot be refueled, and one is a car which can be refueled. Now I always select the car which cannot be refueled.
Next car is Christoph. He's on primes. Car in front of you has not pit yet.
I always, even before I joined the session, I made sure that I had the stock car selected, so not the refuelable car. But still, I noticed during the warm that it was refueling, so I rejoined the session again with the non-refuelable car, but it did not help. And this is something I really have to look out for. What is causing this issue? And I'm gonna find out what this issue is. Same for the CPU issues, by the way. And I'm gonna make sure that none of this happens during the next race, which is in 3 weeks time in Bahrain. But of course, we are being heavily compromised. And when it happens in one pit stop, it just gonna keeps happening in the next ones as well. So at this stage, I knew that my next pit stop would again be 9 seconds as well. And the progress I would made over the course of this stint would basically be gone again. And I felt so bad, really. I really felt bad, and because of all these circumstances, it's hard to concentrate, of course, on the race. I tried my best, of course, that's for sure, but it's tough. It's very tough. Making a move on Christoph, by the way, into turn 3, as we have seen a little bit of an incident over here. It is good for us, of course, trying to make up a few positions. Mike Partington we see in front. Maybe he had some contact down in turn 3. And at this stage, I thought that Partington had lost his rear wing, or sorry, his front wing. So I took it relatively, slowly over here. But then I noticed that he did not lose his front wing. I wasn't entirely sure up until this point, so I made sure that I moved to the inside over here. But when I saw him braking at the normal point and, having normal grip, so to say, I knew that he didn't lose his front wing. Having a nice run out of the previous corner though, going side by side through this quick complex. Surely that's not gonna work. I'm gonna try it around the outside here firstly, and then secondly having the inside line for the right hander, but I decided to back out of it. It's yeah, that was wise. I think that was a wise decision to back out, because Mike, I knew he would just turn into the corner, and when I would be on the inside there, it would be 2 lines colliding basically into each other, and that's what I didn't want. So just as says here, a little bit of a pep talk, you got him. tried to get by Partington. Of course, I have DRS, he does not have DRS. But yeah, this was not my day. On the inside of Partington with DRS and boost 2, once again should be a straightforward move, just like we have seen with Christoph in the previous lap. And so indeed this is a good
job. Next car is Disley.
Next car is Blair Disley, who was a teammate of me last year. Lap 16 of the race though, still plenty to fight for, to be honest. I still think that points were available for us, because you were just saying that Disley was in front, and Disley was behind a train of cars who were, I think, fighting for P6 or for P7, something like that.
Should I do repair for the next pit stop? Of course, it's already going to take long, but then it would take even longer.
Up to you. It's totally up to you.
Can you see your front wing end plate missing?
I tried. I couldn't get a good angle at it, but I mean, it looks fine from the angles that I'm seeing.
It does say there's body repair, but okay, I'll keep on going then.
Yeah, looking at the replays over here as well, I did not have any front wing end plate damage at this time, but I did notice a little bit more understeer than I would usually get. So I thought there was something wrong with the front wing, but Justin says there wasn't. And I got a little bit of confirmation basically that there was something wrong, because in the repair menu it said that...
Disley's options are 11 laps old, I expect one of those two cars ahead of you to pit.
Oh, we'll see whether that is true. But yeah, basically in R52 you have a HUD where you can see whether you have any kind of damage and whether you want to repair it for the pit stop, and it did say repair body, so I knew that I had damage at this time. It's not huge damage though, of course, that is obvious, as Justin was wrong for once. Justin is not often wrong, but for once he was, because those two cars in front of me did not pit. This is Daniel Brewer over here, by the way, who's driving in the standard FSR livery, basically. This is not a team, he's a team livery in the car he's driving in. And having a move here on Blair Disley, perhaps, of course, DRS is wide open for both of us. Because Disley has DRS on Brewer, as Disley goes deep though into turn 3, going to be very opportunistic, swing it around the outside of turn 4. And it does look like I make it stick, similar to the battle with Paris while we went side by side. Maybe have a look at that in the replay. So Disley going deep into turn 3, probably feeling the pressure from me as I did put some pressure on him into turn 3, going for a different line. And in the inside line for turn 5, no issues there whatsoever. Here we see it, I had to take plenty of speed into the corner, but it was safe and sound because I kept 2 wheels on the curb, which is all what matters. Here then really close to making contact, in fact it looks like we almost made contact. As you see over here though, it's millimeter work, that's really it.
Pretty sure I kept 2 tires on the curbs.
Yeah, you're fine. Brewer stopped the same lap as you, he's the car ahead. He's on options, very old.
Just, right now in P9, I mean, it's not too bad. I think a few guys, pitted, so maybe it would be P10, P11 maybe, but there's still plenty to fight for. I could get some points, and maybe those points could be vital towards the end of the championship, so, keep on battling.
You were a half second quicker than him in Sector 2.
Lap 23 of the race though, putting some pressure on Daniel Brewer right now as well for 8th place then. Lap 23 coming around this corner, and there's a car actually who's parked on the inside of the track, right on the racing line, and we make contact, and that is the rear wing gone, and race over, I think.
If I lost my rear wing?
Yep, rear wing's gone.
Yep, there we get the confirmation from Justin, and I have to park my car, and it's race over, after not even having, passed the halfway mark of the race. What can you say? Not a lot. It was not my day. We had the CPU issue where the CPU would get overstressed basically, and my screen would freeze. Obviously that already happened in lap 1 while being in first. Then with the pit stops, which kept refueling only 2 liters, but it would take 9 seconds instead of 3. By the way, I thought that I got past him because I felt like my front end of the car was already by him. It was actually my rear wheel which hit his back of the car, and I was so sad. I was like, yeah, I avoided him, but then I made that impact with the rear wheel, and it's race over. We have the final results. Paris is in the end won by a dominant 22.5 seconds over Patel, and Kuba, our teammate, then being in third place with a big fight, to be honest, with Patel. Not only with Patel, also with Bigazzi perhaps? Not entirely sure on that. He had a big battle though with Patel and someone else. Kuba then taking of course home a podium, but seeing Paris there on top. Of course, with respect to Paris, who deserved this victory, I felt like my name should have been there. That's really the way I feel. Paris also had a 4-stop. Patel, Kuba and Journey had a 3-stop. Journey, by the way, doing an awesome job. Who comes from P14 all the way up to P4, which is really, really good for him. In the end, by the way, Patel had a penalty, meaning that Kuba would move up to P2 and Simoncic up to P3. So Simoncic in the end being P3 after starting from P4. Very, very impressive. And that crash with Kiss, of course. It was Kiss who spun his car around right on the middle of the racing line. Yeah, it was not clever from Kiss, but he said that straight away after the race as well. But you know, I forgive him. I mean, there's nothing else I can do. I felt like in the first place I shouldn't have been there. You know, I feel like I should have been way up the field, fighting for perhaps the victory and at least the podium, because that's what I really wanted. And basically, I went into this race with the thoughts that I would not finish lower than a podium, and I was so convinced that I would not finish lower than 3rd place that, you know, it wasn't even a possibility. And of course, then when you do finish outside of the podium and in this fashion, it's a hit in the face. And honestly, I did have a bit of a tough time after the race as well. Yeah, it hit me quite hard. And yeah, all you have to do though is recover from it and learn from it. Maybe before the race, I do think that I was carried a little bit by my feelings. You know, I was like, you know, this can't go wrong, and this has got to be a podium at least. That was wrong probably, but I learned from that. And next race in Bahrain, I'll hopefully be able to keep my feet a bit on the ground. You know, it's you know, sometimes it's maybe not better to not expect anything. But it's the way it is, and luckily it's the first race of the season. Of course you want to, you know, leave a mark behind, so to say, but I think I already did that in qualifying by qualifying on pole, even though I wasn't happy with that lap at all. Yeah, nonetheless though, it's a shame the way it ended it. But yeah, I honestly couldn't care less about the incident with Daniel Kiss, because it went the wrong way before that for me, of course. But I'm gonna find out what these issues are, and I really hope to be back stronger in Bahrain, because I think in the space of a few hours already I learned a lot, because yeah, after the race I really felt not happy at all, and I had a bit of a tough time. Anyway, I think I'm gonna have to end it here. I've been rambling on for way too long already, of course. This was the first race of the season, and yeah, it's the way it is. I can't make anything more out of it. So thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, I would appreciate a like. We are back in 3 weeks time at Bahrain, and I hope to see you then. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.